All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It is our first meeting in 2025. It's January 8th, 7:30 p.m. Please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item on the agenda tonight is an oath of office for Mr. Tim Gose. Welcome back to City Council for a one-year term.
We get a picture.
Yes, I, Tim Gose.
I, Tim Gose,
Do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the laws of the United States of America,
the state of Ohio,
the state of Ohio,
and the city of Sunbury,
and the city of Sunbury,
and to faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and to faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of the Sunbury City Council
as a member of the Sunbury City Council
for the duration of my term in office.
for the duration of my term in office.
Congratulations. We're gonna get these signed quickly. Official. Thank you. Welcome back, Mr. Gose.
Sir. Glad to be back. I think.
Ms. Swain, roll call. Here. Here.
Strayer, here. Mr. Gose,
Here.
Mr. Grumney, Mr. Martin,
Here.
Mrs. Cooper, here. 7 yeas, we have quorum.
All right, we do have two public hearings this evening. I'm going to go ahead and open the first public hearing. This is for KCH Investments LLC. It's a rezoning application. Just to lay out how tonight will work related to this particular rezoning application. We're first going to hand it to our legal counsel to lay out the legal parameters of a public hearing. We'll then enter exhibits, we will swear in anybody that wishes to speak. We'll enter exhibits. The applicant will present. We will open it up to public comment for anybody who has been sworn in. And then we will open it up to City Council for comments or questions. And the two public hearings tonight are both under ordinances later on in the agenda under a first reading. So with that said, Mr. Whitney, the floor is yours for KCH Investments LLC rezoning application.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. My name is Vic Whitney. I am legal counsel to the City Council here this evening. As the mayor indicated, this first item on the agenda is a public hearing on the rezoning application of KCH Investments LLC. This is a public hearing. As you can see, there's a stenographer here who is taking down what is being said. So in a moment, anybody who may want to offer comment on this application for rezoning for KCH Investments, we'll have you stand up. The stenographer will swear you in. If you believe you may want to give comment, please get sworn in. You're not bound to give comment, but in order to give comment, we do need you to be sworn in. So it's not requiring you then to later give comment, but we just like to do it all at once and take care of that at the beginning. When the mayor takes back over here in a moment, as he indicated, he will call the applicant and then in turn, persons who wish to give comment on this application. When he calls you, please come up to the lectern there. There's a microphone. Speak clearly and loudly, slowly into the microphone again, so we can hear, the council can hear, and the stenographer take down what's being said. Council may or may not have questions for you. If they do, please let them ask a question or make their comment and don't begin responding until they're done. Again, with the stenographer taking everything down, it's impossible for her to take dictation of two people talking at the same time. When you first come up to the lectern, give your name, your address. So in the event we do need to get a hold of you at some later date, we'll be able to do that. So with that said, anyone who believes, including the applicant, that may wish to offer comment on this application, please stand right now. We'll have you raise your right hand and the stenographer will swear you in.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you will present will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do. And Mr. Mayor, I do, as you indicated, have 4 exhibits I'd like to move to admit. I've got marked as Exhibit A, 10 pages, which includes the application and supporting documents submitted by the applicant, including the general warning deed and the legal description of the property and site plans of the property. It's Exhibit A. Exhibit B is the proposed zoning text, which is also a 10-page document. Exhibit D is Exhibit C.
Yeah.
Oh, the paper clips got it stuck together. Exhibit C is a 4-page document and is the public notice and the proof of mailing to the affected property owners. That's Exhibit C, 4 pages. And Exhibit D is an 8-page document, which is the memorandum prepared by the to the city administrator from Elisa Graziano. So with that, I will move to admit the exhibits into the record.
Accept. Thank you. All right, with that said, we are going to open it up to the applicant presentation. Could the applicant come forward? Please state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Robert Giuliani, 5031 Red Bank Road, Galena, 43021.
Yes, sir.
So tonight we are bringing to you a new Kiwis Clubhouse, which is a drop-off daycare center. Slides. This is an example of one of our existing buildings, which is in Lewis Center. There are 4 of them in Columbus. They're locally owned. They're not a franchise. Really, from tonight, I just take any questions you guys have. If there's anything else you'd like to know from us, so.
Maybe just in general, describe where the property is located.
So, as far as the zoning, it's on the corner of Tibbet and Harrison Drive.
For those of you who may not know where that is just north of the fire station and just west of the Inn at Walnut Trail.
So we did want to at least provide a site plan. This was presented at the Planning and Zoning Commission, so maybe just speak to that a little bit. And I think maybe there's one other slide on the
We have landscape, we have landscape.
yeah, the materials as well.
We have the exterior elevation.
Yes,
We
we
also
got
have the
that. Yeah.
photos of the existing buildings, yes.
And so, yeah,
So-
you could speak to that.
Sure. So, the one on my left here is our site plan. This is our proposed building location with our proposed entrance. One thing to note, we did early on in our discussion, we relocated the entrance from Harrison Drive to Tippett to, and I hope I'm saying that right, but to alleviate any traffic going into the neighborhood. So we think it's a much better flow in and out and for the little bit of traffic that we do have. This slide is, this is our landscape slide. I apologize. Our landscape slide, probably the biggest thing on this one, we have great front coverage, which is not really an issue. I'm sure the interest will be in the back of the space where we have the screening. There are no lights. There's no activity on the back of the building. The back of the building is purely for emergency egress for any emergency. So, but that screening would be provided back there. These are our renderings of what our projects look like. It's all board and batten, stone on all 4 sides, so they're really nice looking, very clean. It's a good looking building. They're not cheaply done. They have detail. It looks very nice, very custom done. This is our photometrics. So it shows our lighting and our site lighting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Giuliani.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. And do we want to cover the staff report?
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe if I could just add, maybe an additional item to that. So, as Mr. Whitney indicated, there is a memo in the packet prepared by the city planner to me. And what I want to call out in that is that there was a request, at least initially in the development text, for 3 divergences. This memo articulates that there is a 4th divergence that was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission that has to do with the multi-use trail and the connections. So basically, it does not require a multi-use trail connection, but there is a sidewalk connection, I think, on the western
On
side.
Harrison Drive, we are putting in a new sidewalk.
Yes, that connects to the neighborhood from behind, and also I think to the properties to that front to 3637. So that's what that memo indicates. That's the only additional item I think we wanted to add.
Thank you, Mr. Hennessy. We're going to go ahead and open it up to the public comment. Is there anyone that was sworn in that would like to speak with city council? Please state your name and your address, and we'll try to limit it to 3 minutes if at all possible.
My name is Stephen Woneski. I live at 380 Millers Cove Court in the community right behind the proposed daycare center. What I'm going to share here as quickly as I can was actually provided to Alex Blankenship yesterday. We actually had 2 comments, one for the public session here and then one for visitor. We're just going to do the public session. I had asked Alex to share that with everyone in advance. So when I go through this quickly, we don't lose anybody. The hearing here is, like the mayor said, it's about the daycare center. First of all, I am on the advisory committee, which reports to the Millers Cove Board of Directors. Currently, it's managed by the developer, Romanelli and Hughes. Residents have no input on the board or decision-making, but they did set up the advisory committee for input, comment, et cetera, which sometimes doesn't go anywhere. But that's beside the point. It's supposed to transition sometime by the end of March. First of all, from our viewpoint, no one is really against any commercial or residential growth in the city of Sunbury. It's critically important for several reasons. With some background, though, there are some questions that arise from the current scenario and the significant layered growth around the West Cherry Street and North Mill Road intersection. You have advanced daycare or auto care, Wendy's, McDonald's. There's a parallel road to West Cherry Street, which we saw in the diagram is called Tippett Court. Behind these businesses, north of Tippett Court, there are 2 white commercial buildings with Shine Dental, physical therapy, and other small businesses. And then on Tippett Court behind McDonald's, we've got Noah's Ark Daycare Center and other small businesses. And of course, there's regular traffic going into the inn at Walnut Trail as well off of Tippett Court. Of note, there are 2 curb cuts at the entrance of Wendy's on the east side of North Miller Drive for Wendy's, and then also for Tippett Court. And then directly across the street is 1 curb cut for McDonald's, which makes incredible traffic chaos trying to get onto North Miller Drive. And it's obviously very, very close to the intersection, the traffic light. That in itself causes numerous problems for people that live there. Harrison Drive, which bounds on the west side of the proposed daycare center, may be accessed from West Cherry Street from the east and leads directly into Millers Cove Homeowners Association, which then finds its way over to North Miller Drive. Harrison Drive is one of 3 private roads in the HOA. There are 2 other roads in that HOA that are also deemed private. There's no access from West Cherry Street, which is a big deal, coming from the west to access this area, meaning several drivers will have to turn left on a North Miller Drive into that traffic chaos. And then traffic will have to turn right on Tippett Court, which is unmarked. There's no signs for any businesses to lead in there, or turn onto The other option would be for them to turn right on Miller's Cove Court and go right through the HOA, move to Harrison Drive and turn right to access the pending daycare center and the other businesses in the area. With pending approval for the rezoning change plus proposal for the daycare center, there will now be a significant increase in traffic, which is already there and congested, negatively affecting Miller's Cove private roads and exacerbating traffic or public safety for all neighbors in the area.
Can I interrupt you real quick? We did receive this ahead of time. We're reading verbatim from a note. At this point, this was provided to all residents. How are we doing on time?
We're past 3 minutes at this point, so.
Okay. All right. So
I have 4 quick questions just for consideration and I'm done.
city council has these. And
Okay,
right
all right.
now. So we do have 2 public hearings. It's probably going to be a 3-hour meeting tonight.
Oh, okay.
At this
All
point.
right.
So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Thank you. All right, sir. State your name and address. Keep it at 3 minutes, please.
Hello, Scott Heller, 361 Miller's Cove Court. What he said, it's a private road. We pay for the maintenance on that. I counted roughly, I think, the occupancy on the daycare. We're looking at roughly 97 kids, plus employees. That's a lot of traffic in and out of there that we pay for the maintenance on our road. Tippett obviously is a private road as well, I believe, because I've called several times. I walk my dog. People run that stop sign. Nobody stops. We're going to put a daycare there and people just drive right through that stop sign like it's not there. They've almost hit me several times. Signs don't work unless there's a repercussion, as you know. Unless you can write a ticket, you just put the police there to stop traffic, keep people from going through. Really, we pay for the maintenance of that road, nobody else. We have to fix the potholes due to all the traffic that's going to be going in and out of there in a high rate of speed, because when somebody's late picking up a kid, they drive faster. They're going to drive through our neighborhood. They're going to cut through Miller Drive to get to Miller Cove to come up because the traffic's going to be bad there at Tippett. Really there's 3 options. One, either the city takes over the maintenance of our road and you do all the damage repair, or we put in emergency bollards that can be pushed over by the fire truck. I work for a building department, so I work in a lot of other townships around, so I know what's available. You put emergency bollards there, we lose the use of that, but I would rather lose the use of that road because of the emergency bollards that would be installed. So that way we don't have to pay to fix everything, or there needs to be a gate put in there that can be opened with a remote control, and it can also be opened by the siren of a fire truck or emergency ambulance, like Orange Township and Genoa Township use on their gated communities. Again, a lot of us are on fixed income, or they're elderly and on fixed income, or they're retired and on fixed income, or myself approaching that age where I don't want to be fixing potholes that, normally we would have got 20 years out of. We're going to be repairing them every 5 to 7.
How are we doing on time?
2.5 minutes.
All right.
So, that's pretty much all I got to say. I don't really want to lose the use of that entrance in and out, but something needs to be done, and whatever's going to be done shouldn't be at our expense.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak to city council? All right, let's open it up to, can I make one point? I don't know that the exhibit that was submitted was entered as an exhibit. Can we enter the letter? There were 4 remaining questions that city council has.
Yeah, so we will mark this, the letter submitted dated January 2025 from the citizens who just spoke as Exhibit E, and move to admit that into the record, please.
Thank you. All right, let's open it up to city council. Any questions for the applicant? Comments?
Yeah, for Mr. Giuliani, is that, did I say that correctly? Have you done a traffic study yet, or do you intend to do so?
Don't intend to do so, and we have not.
Thank you.
I mean, we certainly can share, as far as the bodies and what we have coming in and out of there, as far as what we bring to the game, but.
That one statement by Mr. Heller where he indicated,
97 potentially
We're
kids. Is that,
70 to 90. It's,
how many parking spaces? I think I read about 20. Is that right?
I do believe we're at 24, yes.
That's all.
We don't have a high demand for parking as far as that goes.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments or questions? All right, once again, this item is on the agenda under ordinances under first reading. This is the first of 3 readings. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, Metro Development rezoning application. We're gonna go ahead and open that, and similar to our last public hearing, Mr. Whitney will lay out the legal parameters. We will go ahead and swear in anyone that wishes to speak. We will enter exhibits, and we will go to the applicant presentation, public comment, city council comments or questions. Mr. Whitney?
Thank you, Mayor. Once again, the next item on the agenda, as the mayor indicated, is the rezoning application of Metro Development applicant Joe Thomas. So this obviously again is a public hearing. Everything's being recorded. Same as what we went through with at the prior public hearing. To the extent you may wish to speak, give comment on this application, we will ask you in a moment to stand and be sworn in with the court reporter. Again, when directed by the mayor, come up, state your name into the microphone, speak clearly, and make sure we speak one at a time. Let the council ask any questions they may have of you before you respond. And we will move forward in that manner. So with that, anyone who wishes or thinks they may wish to offer testimony or comment on the rezoning application of Metro Development, you would please stand, raise your right hand. We will swear you in.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you present will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. And in terms of admitting exhibits, Mr. Mayor, I have marked as Exhibit A an 8-page document, which is the rezoning application and supporting materials submitted by the applicant, including the legal description and site plans and elevations. Exhibit B is 11-page document, which is the development text that was submitted by the applicant. Exhibit C is the staff report, 6 pages document that was prepared and submitted to council by staff. And Exhibit D is a 4-page document, which is the public notice and the proof of mailing to the affected property owners. And with that, I will move to exhibits A through D.
That we accept. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and go to the applicant presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Thomas, Metro Development, 470 Old Worthington Road, Suite 100, Westerville, Ohio, 43082. Appreciate everybody's time this evening. I'm, as the staff just mentioned, as far as tonight, we're presenting Northport Residential Hotel. If you go to the next slide, if you don't mind. The location of this development is simply one business east of Africa, and it's south of 3637. And it's basically sandwiched in between the RCDRV and the Cahovanian model homes. So that's location. It was owned by the actual previous Jerry Greer family that we bought the property back in April of 2002. Just give you a little history of the background of the property. So shortly after we bought this ground from the Greer family, we submitted an application to Berlin Township, which had a Berlin Township business park overlay on the property, which allowed us to do a residential hotel. We went through that process with the Berlin Township, which we started roughly in March of 2023. We're approved by the Berlin Township trustees in August of 2023. However, when we were looking at the development of that particular site, we felt it did not meet the best and highest need of the area as far as the type of development, the standards of which the Berlin Township business overlay put on that development, which we had to actually go by exactly on that development itself. We felt like there was a better opportunity for us and the city of Sunbury if we took the opportunity to annex this particular piece of property into the city. So shortly thereafter, we had meetings with the city of Sunbury, which would have been the fall of 2023, which brought us to a zoning application of June of 2024 as far as the process. We went through annexation hearings with the Delaware County Commissioners on July 1st, 2024. We met with the City Council as far as that annexation hearing as an annexation agreement, which took place. Our first reading was July 3rd, 2024. Annexation agreement was approved with the city in July 31st, 2024. We had our informal presentation with Planning and Zoning Committee on September 23rd, and then had our City Council final annexation hearing, which this piece of ground has been annexed into the city of Sunbury on October 16th, 2024. Then subsequently went through two hearings for the Planning and Zoning Commission, which ended in November 2025. The reason why I brought up some of this background information is just to let you know that this particular property in particular was gone through a rezoning process or an overlay process with Berlin Township. We felt, from a standpoint of both parties being us, Metro Development, City of Sunbury, thought there was better opportunity. So if you don't mind, go to the next slide, please. This site, like I mentioned before, is adjacent to the RCRB, which is on the left side of the page. It's made up of 7 hotel buildings, 5 garage buildings, and associated amenities, which is the pool, lobby area, parking, and other amenities throughout. And I'll have Todd Ferris go in greater detail on this particular site plan with all the landscaping and so on and so forth. This property is actually located within the Olentangy School District. We have overall, I apologize. We have 270 parking spaces, which of that included is 240 surface parking spaces and 30 garage spaces. The area of the entire development is made up of 6.369 acres. And again, as I mentioned before, some of the amenities within the areas, we have the community or lobby area, which is up there front, just behind the pool area. We have a resort style pool. Within that area, we'll have an outdoor kitchen and gas grill, fire pit, and lounge area. We have connections to future walking trail along the future Sunbury Parkway. And then we'll have community sidewalks that go throughout the entire community. The community lobby area is roughly 1,800 square feet. We'll have 24-hour emergency service in that location. Interior to the lobby area, we'll have a professional cardio center and gaming area, as well as a clubhouse lounge, lobby area with fireplace. And there'll be a resident building, business office, resident coffee bar, and as I mentioned before, an outdoor area on the pool itself. The individual suites are 2 different types of suites. There is 1- and 2-bedroom suites, roughly 681 square feet on the 1-bedroom suite and 957 square feet on the 2-bedroom suite. These units will include a gourmet kitchen, which includes built-in microwaves, dishwasher, range, refrigerator, laundry equipment. All units will have 9-foot ceilings, oversized walk-in closets, private patios and balconies, air conditioning, mini blinds, and so on and so forth. If you go to the next slide, please. Some items that we discussed that came out of our meetings with the Zoning and Planning Commission were some changes that we made through those processes in a meeting with city staff and the mayor. And like I said, I can have Todd go through these details real quick, and then I'll have Jill Tangeman talk about the use of the residential hotel. But I'll be back for questions. Thank you.
Good evening, Todd Ferris from Ferris Planning and Design, 4876 Cemetery Road, Hilliard, Ohio. Yeah, as Joe alluded, there were several revisions and or enhancements that were made to this plan based on several different comments that we received going through this process. And I'll just kind of go around clockwise, counterclockwise. I don't even know which way the clock goes. Everything is digital anymore. But anyways, building 7 and building 5, and I know I'm putting on my screen, which is horrible. The one that fronts State Route 3637 and the one that's towards the future Sunbury Parkway, it was requested that we enhance those elevations. So in the packet that you have, you'll notice that the full frontage of the center portion of those elevations became a masonry product. I believe it was the stone. It was the stone to enhance those elevations. It was asked that those are treated with more architectural treatments. One of the last things that we did were to provide enhanced garage elevations, and these are the 3 garages that face to the west, which is ultimately going to be the future intersection of Sunbury Parkway and 3637. But in the interim, it's still a functioning business. We've located those garages there to serve as a buffer to the people that are in these hotels. And I think rightfully so, the thought process from the staff in the city was, well, that's fine, but in the future, we're going to see these things. When that business is gone, what does that look like? So we came forward with a scheme just to show staff what those would look like. So we provided those enhanced elevations as well. And if you see in your packet, they include cupolas and some enhanced, we call them gable ends that actually face outwards, and then landscaping as well. So when you see the backs of these garages, they look more like mini barns, and they look like more like, instead of just traditional garages. So we think we figured that fairly well. One of the other things that was asked is that currently we'll be having an access drive for fire to the south. It was requested that we keep that as a pedestrian pathway once it's no longer needed. And we talked with the fire department. They have no issue with that the pedestrians use that. So that will be maintained and actually be serve as a access for pedestrians to get out onto the multi-use path that'll be coming with future Sunbury Parkway. One of the other items that I think was of importance too is what does building 5 look like, not only from how you're treating it architecturally from the parkway, but from the landscape, because the other things that are going along the parkway right now have a horse fence. They have additional trees that are planted and things like that. So what we did was enhance that landscape treatment in front of hotel number 5 to include, again, that horse fence that would actually match the units that are going along Sunbury Parkway today, and then increase the evergreen screening, have a large, I want to call it a boss, but a group of ornamental trees. So we really enhance that frontage along Sunbury Parkway when it's constructed to address that situation. And the last was to add more landscaping on the north side of that parking lot. It's the largest parking lot that we have. What can we do to soften that? And what we did was added evergreen trees and some shade trees along the frontage of that to reduce visibility of that, again, from 3637. Obviously, it's behind other homes, but we don't know how long those are going to be there. Probably pretty long now since I just rebuilt them, but you never know. So that's kind of a highlight of all the changes that we made interior to the site. As Joe pointed out, there are several activity areas. There's a dog park, there's a swimming pool. Obviously, we have connections to the future trail. So there's amenities for the people that are staying here that they can utilize on site without having to go off site to do those things. Anything? Huh?
There's elevations involved inside.
Oh, there's elevations? Oh, okay.
I have no answers.
Sure. I guess I do have a PowerPoint here. We can take a look at those elevations real quick and go to the next. So here's the enhanced elevations where we've added stone to the center portions of the buildings. You can see that. And if you go to the last one, this is, backwards, not the last one, that one. Right here, those are the changes we made to the elevations of those garages. The cupolas, those you can get on Amazon, by the way. I found that you can buy those on Amazon or anything. Added board and batten siding with a complementary color. The shutters that make it look like they're closed windows. And then once you put them next to each other, three together down below, we've kind of got a nice little pattern that will look good from the street there. And again, with enhanced landscaping at the base of those. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris.
Good evening. I'm Jill Tangeman, Tangeman, 52 East Gay Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. I'm an attorney with Voorhees, Sater, Seymour and Pease, and here on behalf of the applicant. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what is a residential hotel. That's probably a new term to some people. It actually is a term specifically defined in the Ohio Revised Code as a hotel product that is licensed by the state fire marshal. So in Ohio, we have a couple of different types of hotels that the fire marshal licenses. A residential hotel is one of them. A residential hotel is a little bit unique because while it is a hotel, it is catering to folks who are likely going to be there for a longer term stay. In fact, under the Ohio Revised Code, the minimum stay in a residential hotel is 30 days. So most of the time our clientele are there for several months for a variety of different reasons, which I'll kind of enumerate. Some of the key characteristics, unlike traditional hotels that really cater to short-term visitors, residential hotels are designed for individuals and families that are going to stay for several months. As I already explained, they have to be there for a minimum of 30 days under the Ohio Revised Code. We have usually more unique amenities that cater to that longer term stay. Todd already talked about, we have a lot of activity areas like the dog park, or we also have a lobby area. We have a business center. We have a pool. We have fitness facilities. We have other communal areas. We obviously want to make the folks that are staying with us have those opportunities and make sure they're comfortable and have the things they need while they're in the facility. Regulatory compliance, that is often the key difference between normal or traditional hotels and residential hotels. And then if you even kind of go further than that, the difference between apartments. These buildings are constructed completely as hotels under the Ohio Building Code, which means they have to meet a higher construction standard. So they are commercial buildings that meet hotel standards. That's part of the requirements for the licensure for the state fire marshal. That's very different from an apartment building. Apartment buildings don't have to meet all of those construction requirements under the Ohio Building Code. Of course, apartments aren't licensed by the state fire marshal. So there's a number of specific safety and health codes that a hotel has to follow. A residential hotel follows all of those. Our target population are those that are typically in either in transition. We have a lot of folks who are in the process of relocating. So maybe they're building a house, still trying to figure out exactly where they want to move. They've come here for a job, something like that. So they're going to be here for a couple months while they figure out where they're going to have a permanent home. We also have a lot of folks who are business travelers. So they're maybe 9 to 5, Monday through Friday job is located here. Then they're staying here for several months while they're on work assignment. So we'll have a variety of folks that are, here, and we will, help them with a variety. We have concierge service, we have laundry service, we have other amenities that we can help make sure that they have all the things that they need while they're here. So I'll be happy to answer more questions about that. I know I'm trying to keep things short tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. Any additional points?
Yeah, if you don't mind, you mind advancing to the next, it might have been the other way, actually. Just giving you a context of what's the overall map of the, I appreciate it. Just give you overall context. So again, as I stated, the development is located there, the RCDRB and the Cahovanian. It's just north of the ravines at Meadow Ridge, which is one of our apartment developments. This is the area map, what would be the future interchange in Sunbury Parkway. So the development will necessarily need or will dedicate access or dedicate right away for that future development needs for the Sunbury Parkway. Both would be the Africa Road interchange, Sunbury Parkway interchange, and then frontage along 3637 as part of this development. So, but the initial discussion of this was that the ravines of Meadow Ridge, as I mentioned before, is just south of us. And then the Northport Residential Hotel is that piece on top of that page. So I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Did you want to cover the staff report at this point, Mr. Hennessy?
No, not really. I think other than to say that there were changes requested by the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think they did a great job of covering the requested changes.
Great, thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and open it up to public comment. Is there anybody from the public that was sworn in that wishes to speak regarding this rezoning application? All right, I'll open it up to City Council for comments or questions.
Yes.
Okay, looking at your requested lighting, the pathways, parking spaces and pathways shall be illuminated and the 0.5 foot candle minimum lighted of these areas shall not apply. What do you want to change it to?
We traditionally have, our traditional parking lot lighting within the interior of the site, not knowing who our neighbors are going to be, in the additional areas to both our west and our east. Of course, the north section is the Cahovanian currently, and to our west is the RCDRB, but, our lighting is similar to, any other commercial lighting within its interior to the parking area. We light the parking area, like the front entryways to the breezeways, entranceways, and then we have, of course, house lighting interior to the corridors as well. So,
Because both of those that you just listed, I don't think they'd be affected by decent lighting. So are you planning on lowering the amount of light or making it a little brighter?
no, we are, for a standpoint of, I don't think we're necessarily going to lower the standards of lighting necessarily, and definitely not making it any brighter. Just wanted some flexibility with the process when we go into final engineering to work with the city staff and the city engineer to go through that process and what the exact lighting needs to be through that process, not knowing exactly where all the manholes are for the sanitary sewer, the storm pipe, those details that we can work out as we go through the final process.
Because I do think that is a facet of safety.
Understand. Yeah, we do as well. I mean, from a standpoint of our customers, we do multiple things for safety reasons. Lighting is one of them, security as far as having emergency services on site 24/7, and also cameras throughout our developments, cameras within our lobby area and exercise facilities. We even have sometimes part-time security from the local police department, depending on what the necessity of it may need be at the time. But we agree that the safety of these particular, our customers and the residents that are going to be there, and as well as our staff, is the most important. So, and the visibility being at 36 or 37 is a nice asset to that, because, the more visibility you have to the traveling public necessarily gives you more security necessarily for, I don't know if it's totally accurate, but a lot of times crime is less in areas that are more visible per se, and more access to the public viewing also.
So follow up on that. Is it true that this body will approve the development plan that would include the lighting plan that's been approved by staff? Is that correct?
Yeah, so I think what you're saying is that when you go through detailed engineering, that's when you're going to identify the lighting, the location of the lighting, and the product itself, and again, the coverage of the lighting. So yeah, that said, then I guess detailed engineering, I don't know the process, does that go back to planning and zoning commission? I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll follow up. I'll confirm on that.
Thank you. Other comments or questions from city council? All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Again, this item is on our agenda under a first reading under ordinances. Thank you, Sarah. All right, next item on the agenda, we had a meeting on December 18th. We're looking for a motion on the minutes.
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Cooper. Mrs. Cooper, excuse me.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion?
Yes, under ordinance 2025-01 and 2025-02, it says that the motion was made on the resolution and it should say on the ordinance.
I will get that updated. Thank you.
Thank you. Starting off hot. Tallied
I
up,
read these things, you know.
tallied up as 2 for Dave Martin.
Ready?
Roll call.
Yes. Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
6 yeas, minutes passed.
All right, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, we are into the visitors section. Are there any visitors that wish to speak with city council? Want to follow up? Yeah, you want to come up to the microphone?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, we do have another letter. Is it Mr. Winecki? Wineski. Related to after meeting open comment period. So maybe we can catch each other after council.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other visitors that would like to speak with city council? Right, thank you. We're on to committee reports. I imagine there are too many. Mr. Ayer?
You have one.
Whoa. What have you been doing over the past 7 days?
A lot.
All right.
But this was with the Delaware County Regional Planning Commission. And just a matter of importance to us, because this is the closest development to us. There is another development, Mariluna in Genoa Township, 150 lots on 129.5 acres. It will be located on the west side of Rome Corners Road, north of Lewis Center. It will be Delco and Big Walnut School System.
Thank you very much. Mr. Grumney, Mr. Capel?
Yes, we had a very productive services committee meeting before this evening. The bulk of which we spent with Carla presenting on stormwater management with an emphasis on enforcement and escalations. This is legislation that's on tonight's agenda, but basically this lays out a plan for us to provide or ensure that inspections are happening with new developments, that developers are maintaining the roadways, the debris, the sewers, and that we have a remediation process in place, including potential fines. We also talked about the trash hauling contract. We are with Local Waste Services currently. That is set to expire on March 31st. We're advertising for bids with an intent to start a new contract on April 1st. Another reminder, the Safe Streets for All survey is still up on the city's webpage. We encourage all residents to visit that and give their opinion. I'm on that Safe Streets for All committee. We definitely want as many resident feedback as we can possibly get on it. Sunbury Estates Trees and Sidewalk Project updates. This might be the last time we talk about it in the meeting, God willing. But there is still time for residents of that community to opt in if they would like to take part in the tree replacement. And then finally, wastewater treatment plant update. We do have a couple bids in. They've identified a low bidder and they're going to come back by the end of the month with recommendations on how to move forward with that. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. We had a Parks and Rec meeting earlier this evening before the Services Committee. And we had a guest come from the middle school. She has a middle school math teacher. She's been here before. She's working with our staff to create a math walk in the forest behind GRE. And they did a walk with Alyssa and Jake to set up some spots where they think is the right spot to put these math questions. And they're going back now and they're going to try to get sponsorships for these polls. And she would like to have this happen for their middle school service day in May. And then she would like to annually take kids out there and give new problems and clean up the polls. And that's her goal. So it's something new, something different. So it's neat. We got a J.R. Smith update, and this was a good update. We haven't talked about J.R. Smith in a while, so it was welcomed. So as a reminder to council, the complete J.R. Smith project that we're looking at is about $3 million. And we have $1 million of that already budgeted. So we're looking at a $2 million gap for if we would complete the entire project, finance the project all at once without doing phases. And so there previously had been a meeting with some mayor, some staff, and Ms. Stefan to talk about our options. And after that meeting, the staff came to the parks meeting today and recommended that Sunbury borrow the remaining $2 million and complete this project to get this done. As a reminder, we have impact fees that we're receiving that will help make that payment. And so staff is recommending that. The Parks and Rec Committee is also recommending that. And what that looks like moving forward is the first thing is we'll go to CT Consultants and we'll say, please come up with some engineering plans for J.R. Smith. We already know what we want it to look like, but let's get that stepped out and see a very clear number of how much it will cost so we know how much to borrow. And then we would, what we want, and then we would send it out to bid. And then after that, and around that time, then we would go out to borrow the money once we know exactly how much money it'll cost to fix up this park. But as you also know, the Safe Streets for All is really working on the square right now. And we're also going to be improving Route 37 right here. So in my opinion, as the chair and then the parks and staff, we're all on the same page of this is a good time to do it. We think it was 2018 when city council started talking about this park. And so we think this is a good time. We think it's a good use of our monies. So that was a big portion of our meeting. And then there's also, we discussed there's going to be, it's called the 34th annual Columbus Ice Bowl, and it is a disc golf event that is going to be happening later this month. So that was the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mark?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Gross?
No, sir.
I just wanted to add on to what Mrs. Cooper said. You know, we've been talking about this particular project in J.R. Smith Park for 7 years. It was part of the Parks Master Plan that some of us were a part of. Over the past 3 years, there have been several public meetings, public open houses, resident outreach. Community is demanding parks, and we have grant money. We have money that we budgeted, and this will parlay very nicely into what Mrs. Cooper talked about. The East Granville Street widening, the safety improvements. And it's going to be the largest park investment we've ever made in Sunbury history, but specifically in the downtown core. And that's really exciting. So really excited to see where this goes. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the police report. Mr. Rob Howard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try and make this pretty quick. It's been a long meeting, so I just want to make sure everybody's aware that the former police chief of Sunbury Walt Neese. He passed away and was buried this week. He was the chief, he was here from 1971 to 1990 when he retired. Former Chief Pat Bennett, he spoke at the funeral on behalf of Sunbury because Mr. Neese swore him in. So we want to thank Chief Bennett for that. Down a couple of things that I wanted to cover that's not on this report was yesterday we had a flood in the new building. It was a plugged pipe. We were able to get that cleared. Not sure really what the plug was. One of the plumbers thought it might be a debris from when they actually did the pipes, which caused it to snag onto other debris and plug it up. I have the super from that project. I had him back down there yesterday because as we had the flood, the drain in the bathroom is higher than the floor. So therefore it could not take any water away. So we are working on that, and I will keep Mr. Hennessy and the mayor updated on what we find there. We received an email from, I don't know if you're covering this or not, but the regulators. I spoke with the plumber today who's coming in to do those. He said he's been out of town. The regulators on the gas lines have not been installed yet. He said we get to those as soon as possible, but he was thinking that was going to be about another 10 days. That's all I have unless you have questions.
Any questions for Chief Howard? Thank you, sir. Administrator report, Mr. Hennessy.
So the only thing I'll draw your attention to is I have included in the packet an updated city directory. So it reflects our new council. It also reflects all of the new committee appointments that we made at the last meeting. I do envision that there'll at least be one more edit to this pretty quickly, as I would expect the President Pro Tem to make some council committee adjustments. So once we have those, we'll get the revised version out to you, but hopefully you find that document useful. That's it.
Any questions for Mr. Hennessy? Soderbrowski? Take your time.
Happy 2025, everybody. I believe everybody has touched on the points in my staff report. The only addition I wanted to make to Mr. Kappel's update on the stormwater legislation, I really appreciate the feedback and the engagement during the services committee. We'll be looking at additional work with our legal to see if there's even additional updates that we may look at for the penalty section of that legislation before the second reading. So I'll take questions. Not about my toe.
Any questions? Thank you. All right, good deal. In the midsection, we're gaining time. Resolutions, third reading, resolution number 2024.19, a resolution approving engineering services with CT Consultants relating to the wastewater treatment plant expansion remains tabled. Second reading, resolution number 2024.29, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a maintenance agreement with the state of Ohio Department of Transportation. Anything you want to cover on this one, Mr. Hennessy?
No, I mean, yeah, we can wait for the third reading to act on this, but this is the city's responsibility to maintain the trail, the brick columns, the decorative fencing. We'll talk a little bit more about the decorative fencing here a little bit later in the meeting, but these are some additional items that the city has added to what might be a standard roadway plan for the parkway. So not unexpected. We would anticipate that we were going to take on this responsibility. So this is just an agreement to do that.
Thank you. First reading, resolution number 2025.01, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a mutual aid agreement between the city of Sunbury and various political subdivisions within Delaware County to provide emergency police protection services. This is just a renewal, correct, Chief? Correct. Okay. First reading. You don't need action tonight, correct? Okay. All right. We're on to ordinances. Third reading, ordinance number 2024.31, an ordinance accepting the application of Woodland Lake Investors LLC to rezone approximately 60.588 plus or minus acres of property owned by Lou Ann Medellin and Diamond Resources Corp. from not zoned to planned residence district and planned commercial district pursuant to the City of Sunbury zoning code and declaring an emergency. There is one amendment I believe we're looking to make to this particular ordinance.
Yes, that is correct. So hopefully, we're ready to take action on this evening. During the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, there was a discussion about establishing a tree replacement fee and that council would set the fee. So the applicant has completed their tree survey. We've calculated the number of trees that will not be replaced and are recommending a $350 charge per residential unit be assessed to the property. We do have two other properties right now, two other developments right now where we are charging a tree replacement fee. So this would be the third. And the range for those, one's at $250 per unit, the other one's at $1,000 per unit. So this is somewhat in between. So the total amount that it would add to the development cost is $157,800. And that those funds ultimately go to the parks, go to help support our parks. The applicant is aware of this and supports it.
Questions or comments? All right, with that said, I'll make that amendment. I'll make a motion with that amendment on the emergency. Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Great. I'll make a motion on ordinance number 2024.31.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas, ordinance passes.
Thank you. All right, ordinance number 2024.32, an ordinance accepting a petition for annexation of territory consisting of 93.1 plus or minus acres of land located in Trenton Township, Delaware County, and owned by OHIO Real Estate Acquisition 1 LLC, and declaring an emergency. Looking to take action on this.
Yep, if you're ready.
Okay. There was somebody that was here from the applicant in our last meeting, I believe.
Yeah, so Mr. Underhill, I don't think he's here this evening. He was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting where I think they did the informal discussion about the proposed zoning use in this. As I had indicated at a couple of meetings ago, the OHIO Real Estate Acquisition 1, they already have two parcels of land that have been annexed into the city. The only reason these two parcels that are in front of you today, totaling 93 plus acres, the only reason they didn't get annexed in originally is because there's a cap on the amount of acreage that can be annexed at any given time. So there was always an expectation that we would add these two additional parcels, and that's really where we are today.
I'll make a motion on the emergency.
A motion by Mr. Martin on the emergency.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion on ordinance 2024.32.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Martin, second by Mrs. Cooper on the ordinance. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
All right, no second readings. We have several first readings. First is ordinance number 2025.03. First reading ordinance, and ordinance enacting erosion and sediment control standards, declaring an emergency. I want to mention two items on this. We're not looking to take action on this, but two things we've looked or asked staff to do, at least from the services committee, is one, remove the ability for any developer to select their own third-party inspector for our erosion control legislation inspection. And the other one was to, I think it's stronger than explore. I think we're directing you to look at the civil fine schedule how do we enact action faster for developers that are out of compliance? Any other comments on this particular one? All right. All right, first reading ordinance number ordinance number 2025.04, an ordinance increasing user fees for the wastewater treatment system of the city of Sunbury and declaring an emergency. This is a first reading only.
Right, but we will need to take action at the next meeting in order to get it incorporated with the next round of bills. So if people have questions on this before we meet again, please feel free to reach out to me.
Okay.
Same for the next ordinance.
Okay. First reading ordinance number 2025.05, an ordinance amending the sewer connection charges to add a 5/8 inch connection charge, amending other connection charges, and declaring an emergency. Same thing.
Correct.
Okay. All right, and excuse me. First reading ordinance number 2025.06, an ordinance approving the application of KCH Investments LLC to rezone approximately 1.353 plus or minus acres of property owned by Romanelli and Hughes Building Company, an Ohio corporation located on State Route 37 East, from agriculture residence A1 to planned commercial district PCD pursuant to the city of Sunbury zoning code. This is a first reading. I think the thing that I'd like to ask staff to do just on this one in particular is related to the public comment that we did receive. Some was directly attributed to this development. There are some others that we hope to learn more about, maybe just in general about private streets and who can use them, who can block them, who can walk through them, those types of things. In general, just any of the questions that were raised that were specific to this rezoning application, if I could ask staff to research those. There was a question about traffic impact study. I'm not sure what our legislation requires for a 1 acre parcel. So if you can take that away. No action on this. All right. Ordinance number 2025.07, an ordinance approving the application of Metro Development to rezone approximately 6.369 plus or minus acres of property owned by Northport Place LLC, an Ohio limited liability company located on State Route 37 East, from not zoned to planned commercial district pursuant to the city of Sunbury zoning code and declaring an emergency. Any comments or questions on this? All right. My eyes are going fuzzy. Ordinance number 2025.08. This is a first reading. An ordinance consenting to preliminary participation with the Ohio Department of Transportation for enhancements to Sunbury Parkway Bridge fencing and other entry features and declaring an emergency.
Yeah, so maybe just a little bit of context for the group here. So this ordinance basically outlines the city's participation in the Sunbury Parkway interchange. We've talked a lot about the interchange and ODOT's plans to begin construction on that. They anticipated bidding that project later this year, and actually by later this year, probably in the second quarter of this year. Included in the bid packet then would be an alternate allowing for the city of Sunbury to put a sign up there that basically over I-71, where the parkway will extend over I-71, a sign basically identifying the city of Sunbury. So on packet page 220, you can see the latest version of the sign that's been proposed for installation above the new interchange. So in order for ODOT to include that as an alternate item in their construction bid packet, they need an ordinance from the city consenting to that we may participate. What it does say that is, as an alternate, that the city will be able to assess the proposed pricing on that. And if we determine at some point that maybe that's not where we want to be, there still is an opportunity for the city to make a different decision. So this isn't the final decision with respect to the sign, but it is necessary in order for it to be included as part of the bid package.
Will it be mounted on the bridge similar to the Berkshire Township?
Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, it's not exactly the same design, but very similar, yeah, in terms of kind of the look and feel. It will have significant scale. It will have the city of Sunbury visible in both directions. It'll be, I believe, centered over the travel lanes as opposed to kind of centered over the two, the north or the north and southbound lanes. ODOT has done a preliminary estimate on the cost of that sign. They have it at about $1.4 million. That's pretty significant. That includes a contingency. And that is the amount that it is above what a basic fence would be if they were to install it over the interstate. Having said that is just a preliminary estimate. Again, we won't know the final price until we get the bids back from the contractors. The other thing I would add is that that we will also have columns that will ultimately also sort of mark the entry to the city. We wanted this obviously to be a gateway feature into the city. The Parkway is a big, and a critical gateway for the community. So we wanted to make sure that we did something very meaningful. So again, I know it looks like a big number, but we also have created an NCA in that area, and we've identified that this is one of the costs that would be an eligible a cost for the NCA charge to be used for. Now, of course, we also need to build the roadway as well. So there's still a lot of demands on that money, but this is certainly one of the uses that would be eligible. What I am trying to sort through still with ODOT is really how much money is put down as a deposit, kind of what the timing of this payment is going to look like. I don't have the answer to that yet. I hope to have that answer next week. They are asking if we could take action on this at next week's meeting so it can be a part of the bid packet. Again, I'll do the best I can to get answers on this, and we can see if we get comfortable enough to do that. But that's where we are at the moment, and I guess I'll answer any questions if you've got them.
I like Berkshire's better.
Oh, I disagree. Ours is amazing.
The other one's a little thin, prettier.
Ours has the logo. Ours has the cupola as an element as well. So it's not just letters, but if others want to chime in, I think you'll really like the sign. And I think a lot of people will like this sign. All right, thank you. Just a reading this evening.
Thank you. All right, I've lost my second sheet of the agenda. I think we're on to new and unfinished business.
We are.
All right, thank you. City Council Rules 2025.
So this is just a standard action taken at the first meeting of every year. There are no proposed changes in the rules from your current set of rules. So what we have in front of you is, again, what we hope you'll enact as the rules going forward for the current year.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Mrs. Cooper.
Second.
Second by Ms. Dreyer. Discussion, roll call.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Dreyer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Rumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
We're on to new and unfinished business. Ms. Dreyer?
No.
Grumby?
Yeah, just real quick on committee assignments, I had an opportunity to talk to each council member, and we're going to go ahead and keep committees the same, with the exception of newly added Mr. Ghost, who will take over with the exception of the fire committee, take over Murray Neff's, former council member Murray Neff's position. So that will include parks, insurance, Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, and of course be part of the finance committee. So I think with just a couple of those small changes, everything else remains the same.
Great.
Thank you. That's
Thank
it.
you. Anything, Mr. Kaplan?
Nothing tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to share that on December 12th, I attended my monthly Leadership Delaware class. And this class was Education Day, and this one was my favorite one so far. It started off with a panel of all of the Delaware County superintendents. And before they came out, while everyone was just sort of eating their breakfast, Delaware Hayes Orchestra played. So we're drinking coffee and eating like Pop-Tarts, and the orchestra is playing, and they were just so talented. It was just like, where am I? But it was really cool, and their choir sang, and it was just really awesome. We got to tour Olentangy Academy. We got to tour Columbus. Well, we didn't get a tour, but we went to Columbus State Community College Delaware campus. We toured DACC. We toured Schultz Elementary and the Delaware Library. While we were at DACC, we ate lunch made from the culinary arts kids. And I'm not one that takes pictures of their food and posts them on social media. And I took pictures and posted on social media. It was incredible. I think I texted you. I texted my husband. I was like, this food is awesome. But these tours that we got to take were done by the students. And when I got home, I told my husband, I said, I have no reservations about the future. I said, the future is in good hands. These fifth graders, these teenagers, they were good eye contact, talked clearly and loudly so we could understand them. They were excited about school. It's been a long time since you've been in school, but not as long for me, but it's completely different than when we were in school. And it was just really awesome. It was a great day. The one thing that I talked to Mr. Hennessy about this was that I thought we could maybe look into a little bit was the Columbus State Delaware campus. They offer a lot of adult education, and they work with municipalities, and they have lots of options and scholarships. And so I had said to Mr. Hennessy, I was like, let's see what they offer. Let's see if there's continuing education that we can do. Let's do it in Delaware County here with our staff. So very cool day. We have another one tomorrow, so I'll report back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin.
I'd just like to ask for a moment of silence for Jimmy Carter. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Goss?
Nothing here, sir.
Our next meeting is next Wednesday. This is a 3 Wednesday month. We'll determine at our next Wednesday meeting, whether we're meeting on the 29th or not. I also wanted to mention, just coming out of the holidays, State of the City, February 20th at the the Big Walnut High School auditorium. Yes, so last year it was at the pool room. Academic Commons this year, it's gonna be in the big house. We're inviting everyone. Everybody obviously is welcome to come. Please come February 20th, 6:30 p.m. Remarks start. All right,
So that'll have to be advertised as a special meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Go. All right, that's all I have. Please go ahead and I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Air,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas, we are adjourned.